The passing of Alaafin of Oyo has been causing lots of buzz on social media. Among the numerous questions on the mind of netizens is what will happen to the Abobaku of Oyo, the person who must die once the king joins his ancestor. But it turned out the answer to this is simple. That leaves us with the $1 billion question no one has been able to answer, which is, what will be the fate of the late monarch's numerous old and young wives? Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III was a lover of fair and beautiful women in his lifetime. For someone of his caliber, controlling and commanding massive wealth and power, the Grand Monarch did not only keep some as concubines, but made sure to marry as many young women as he could. One of the things many Nigerians had loved about him was how he stepped out publicly, flanked on both sides by his beautiful queens, who did not only drip with royalty and glamour, but were always adorned in matching outfits. Every now and then, the late Oyo monarch would make the news for adding one or two oloris to his collections, to a point where many guessed the old king's penchant for young women might have some spiritual significance and maybe the secret to his long life. After Oba Adeyemi joined his forefathers at 83, an Oyo chief confirmed that his passing made 18 queens instant widows and over 24 children, both old and young, fatherless. Going by the rites performed on the women upon marriage to the king, their roles in the palace, and their royal husband's life. Of course, with their financial dependency on him, there has been an heightened curiosity about what their lives would become now, going by the existent Yoruba culture. Will they continue to live in the palace? Who would care for them? Are they free to remarry? Do they still get to be called queens or ayaba?
Hello guys, it's T-Code here for African Glitz.
The late Alaafin of Oyo, a prince who eventually became Oba Lamidi Adeyemi III, was no ordinary king in Yoruba land. He was one of the most powerful kings whose only rival was the Oni of Ife. For a throne of his forefathers that commanded this much power and respect, it is no-brainer that it will attract wealth as well. Oyo is not a poor town in any way. It is an ancient town which once upon a time was the commercial center of West Africa. The wealth they have amassed has been passed down from generation to generation, and no, it didn't elude the late Oyo monarch. Apart from inherited wealth, Oba Adeyemi was a highly placed king in the country, was entitled to certain monthly payment from the federal, state and local government, running into millions of naira. The well-educated monarch was also a successful businessman and a famous car dealer both at home and abroad. Over the years, he has reportedly accrued a net worth running into billions of naira, including multi-million naira landed properties and wonder on wheels like his customized limousine. But you all know that saying about a rich man being in a dilemma on how to spend his money. Well, for the late monarch dubbed the royal blood with class, he damn well didn't face any such dilemma when there were beautiful, fair, young and fertile women dying to be his wife. Oba Adeyemi was no doubt the Solomon of our time. He went after the most beautiful women he could find and brought them back to his palace either as concubines or as wives. Oba Adeyemi was already married to 2 wives before his coronation as Alaafin of Oyo on January 14, 1971. His senior wife, Ayaba Abibat Adeyemi, had 5 kids for him, including sons and daughters. And while her role in the palace is relatively unknown, it is believed she was at the helm of women's affairs in Oyo town, together with her immediate junior wife, Ayaba Ramat Adedayo. Coming after the monarch's coronation, he began marrying even more younger and more beautiful women, some of whom were younger than the children of his youth. He was known for stepping out with these women, flanked on both sides, wearing matching outfits, glammed up faces and expensive accessories. While people feared his excessive love for women had some spiritual significance, or he may even be a cradle snatcher and forcing himself on them, the monarch debunked all of these notions during a 2018 interview with The Punch, where he said all his young wives chose to marry him willingly after sponsoring their education, seemingly as a way of appreciating his kindness. Aside from marrying these women who have very young children for him, some being twins and triplets, Oba Adeyemi also reportedly spoils them silly, sponsoring their vacations outside the country and gifting them expensive cars. At some point, these women who referred to the king as their oxygen were the envy of people on social media, and others eventually came to love the monarch over his penchant for young wives. Until 2020, it became a source of embarrassment to his name and title. 3 of his queens ran away from the palace scandalously, causing the monarch's name to be rubbished and disrespected online. But even then, the monarch still didn't care and made sure to replace them all, including marrying a new queen of Igbo descent, Chioma, in March of 2021. Reports confirmed that he had just left the room of one of his newest concubines when the cold hands of death gripped him seriously, landing him in the Afe Babalola University Teaching Hospital, where he eventually gave up the ghost on Friday night, April 22nd, 2022. Following the monarch's burial according to Islamic rites, an Oyo chief has come out to explain what the fate of his queens and children will become. Confirming the monarch left behind 18 widows and 24 children, the chief said they would be asked to vacate the palace with all their belongings, after which all the properties of the king would be shared among them. In Yoruba tradition, it is believed that when a woman becomes separated from a king, she is not allowed to sleep with another man until she undergoes some form of spiritual cleansing, else the man she lays will die. However, in the case of the wives of the late Alaafin of Oyo, the chief said that they do not need any special cleansing and are now very much available to suitors who wish to marry them, but they are not permitted to marry an indigene of Oyo. Surely, the older Oloris may not be looking forward to marriage again, but the younger wives cannot say the same, who mainly have 1 or 2 children for the late king. The question of what will be the fate of the Alaafin of Oyo's wives does not stop here, as netizens have been asking about his runaway queens. In 2020, the late Chancellor of the University of Maiduguri lost 3 of his beautiful and youngest queens to the streets of Lagos. Queen Badirat, Queen Anu and Queen Dami all left the palace where they were actual queens to become slay queens on Instagram. Queen Badirat was the first to run away in April of 2020. According to reports, she was sent packing from the palace over an alleged affair with Fuji maestro Kwam, who had just been conferred with chieftaincy title as Mayegun of Yoruba land by the Alaafin of Oyo himself. The 2018 graduate of the University of Ibadan later debunked the news, stating she left on her own because the king was maltreating her. Amidst many rumors of having a plethora of sugar daddies, including MC Oluomo, Queen Badirat is now chopping life as a fashion entrepreneur and brand influencer. Queen Anu and Queen Dami both left the palace at the same time in November of 2020. They had both been locked up in the palace prison by palace authorities over misbehavior, and once released, they decided that enough was enough. So they fled with their kids at night. Months later, Queen Dami accused the monarch of threatening fire and brimstone for her to return, and even going as far as harassing her family and sending people to kidnap her. The then 23-year-old, in a post on Instagram, tagged the police and asked them to go after the monarch if anything happened to her. Seemingly, after she ran out of money, the young Olori went back to beg the Alaafin of Oyo and other royal family members to forgive and accept her back. The mother of a set of twins said she was misled by her friends and has now learnt a lesson. Sadly, she was rejected. Queen Anu, on the other hand, has seemingly moved on permanently. In October of 2021, the fashion stylist told fans she had a wedding introduction. So, a few minutes ago you were wondering what the fate of the late Alaafin of Oyo's wives would be. There you have it. Tell us, do you think the properties left behind by the late king are enough to take care of his 18 widows? Do you think the condition of their remarriage is fair? Lastly, do you think it's fair that only the queens who stuck to the monarch to the end are getting a share of his properties? Shouldn't his runaway queens who had kids for him be given something too?
Share your opinion in the comment section down below. If you found this video informative, please comment, like and share. Also, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to be notified every time I upload a new video so that you don't miss out. Thanks for watching and see you on our next one.